I think that's a little bit unseemly, to be honest. We have all that information. I would just like to say that I vehemently oppose looking at Donnelly School in any way other than that it is one of our schools like any other. And in fact, I think some of the kids at Donnelly School need our protection and frankly, need the protection of the city of East Lansing. Many of them are city residents. So I'd just like to say that.
Well,
so.
All right, well, I'd like to make a few comments about why I am still not comfortable and will not vote for the September 8th proposal. Basically, there's two issues that I see as problematic with that proposal. One is the school site, and the other is has to do with school culture. I'm really concerned that a decision to invest $10.6 million of public funds to rebuild at Glencairn is an illogical position. The expert architects, construction professionals, and the Community Configuration Committee tasked by this board weighed in about their significant concerns regarding the Glencairn school site. And even Dr. Chapin in 2009 indicated that he thought that Glencairn should be considered for district central offices, in part because of the history of retaining standing water and not being able to support additional building at that site. I don't think that I would be a good financial steward for our school district and community if I were to vote to spend more than $10 million on a building project at a site that the experts have concluded is seriously flawed. Now, about school culture, I think we've heard 6 hours of testimony, at least, on the culture at Red Cedar. Others have articulately and cogently tried to convey Red Cedar's unique ability to successfully address the issues we, as a school board and community, have identified as core to our values in education. Goal 3 in our strategic plan is to prepare students for learning and working in a global community. With no additional support from central administration, but with a faculty and staff that's committed to educating world citizens, combined with a community of families that has consciously chosen to create a school environment that embodies our own articulated values, Red Cedar is a model of success. Some have suggested that the Red Cedar model can be imported to other sites and that we should essentially spread the wealth if we have such a successful school. I posit that it is precisely because we have a concentration of families and staff who have self-identified as choosing the educational opportunities of a multicultural community that make Red Cedar so unique and difficult to refashion elsewhere. Red Cedar is a successful model by our own district and state standards according to MEP data, and in fact by national and international standards as well. Scores of delegations from around the world have visited the school to understand what it is that happens there, some alchemy of pedagogy and passion for social equity that makes Red Cedar work so well. Michigan State University has a multitude of partnerships with East Lansing Public Schools at the Red Cedar site that enhance the educational experience for our students. Somehow, we've achieved, without trying too hard or sinking millions of dollars into programming, a truly equitable international, multicultural, multiracial, multi-ethnic, economically and religiously diverse school community where a child from anywhere in the world of any ability can sit next to a child from our town and feel a sense of value, welcome, and belonging from the first day. And while we labor to develop measures to address our significant achievement gap issues in other schools, Red Cedar has organically solved this issue. All children, regardless of race, economics, or linguistic background, succeed at the highest academic levels. Some believe that we should make our decision about which school to close strictly based on population. I think this is myopic. After all the mountains of research and data collection we have done to come to this decision, it would be short-sighted to rely on only one set of numbers that tell us how many students lived on what block 2 years ago. Our district has been graced with an extraordinary school of international merit. It should be a point of pride. It would be a mistake of significant measure to close its doors.
Thank you, Donna.
Would it be appropriate to call the question on the motion that's on the floor? Thank you, Donna.
Undiscussable.
Need a two-thirds vote.
Need a two-thirds vote, yeah.
To what, call the question?
So we vote on call to question on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So we vote on the alternative reconfiguration proposal number 1. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Could we read
I'm
that?
voting to support it, I apologize.
I'm sorry?
I'm voting to support it, I apologize. I didn't get my aye in there quickly enough.
Okay. So we're moving on to the next item, which is the alternative reconfiguration proposal number 2.
I move that we delete item 5D from the agenda and maintain the status quo with the existing schools the way they are and do no construction and ask the taxpayers for no additional money at this time.
I'll second that motion.
And my reasons for that are, as I stated before, with this additional comment. No, I have no further comments. I think y'all know what my position is. Thanks for listening to me tonight. I appreciate it. And I'm sad.
What do we have on the table right now?
We have an alternative reconfiguration proposal number 2, which calls for status quo and no bond election.
Okay, we in discussion?
Discussion? I am, discussion? Anyone?
Look, we've got to find a way to move forward here. We've got to find a way to move forward. And I think there are a lot of people out here tonight, but more importantly, there's hundreds that are out there in the community waiting for us to come through with some kind of a reasonable plan. I think we're stuck. I don't think it's wise for us to move forward with a 4-3 board. And so, you know what? At risk of, what does Dave Chapin think? Dave Chapin wants the board to move forward. Dave Chapin wants the best thing for all students in East Lansing Public Schools. And I do want us to move forward, and frankly, I do want us to get a bond proposal in front of our electorate on February 28th. Well, the question becomes, what should that be? In case we got stuck tonight, I'm gonna get out of the box. I don't care. It's 10:30. We can table this if we want, but I want us to get unstuck, and I'm gonna kind of build on a lot that I've heard from a lot of different people in hopes that we can move forward. I would suggest something that sounds a little bit like this. What if we're to move to on February 28th to do full additions and renovations at Pinecrest and Marble. K-12 technology, which has gotten lost in the shuffle. I think we desperately need a technology update across the board. I would suggest that we do mechanical, electrical, furniture, and equipment to include AC in all schools. Possible redesign of a library media lab at Donley, White Hills, Glencairn, and Red Cedar. Move to a vote on February 28th. My figures are, we can review that, would be approximately $37 million. Continue to market Timber Lane. And no changes in grade configuration at Pinecrest, Marble, Red Cedar, and Donley. Remain K4, White Hills and Glen Cairn remain 5-6. That's phase one, okay? We stop on February 28th, or actually February 29th. It is a leap year this year. If the vote on the 28th is successful, we celebrate and we move on. If it's not successful, then we invest in a professional comprehensive survey before determining the next steps. Phase two, dependent upon what we get from RJ and company, we move forward with a continuation of the discussion that we've had. Let's determine the status of public school funding and impact